Question 4, use your calculator to complete the table below for the indicated values. Use the table to draw the graph on the x and y coordinate plane. All right, so pretty much the same thing we're doing here. There's a slight difference. When you're looking at this equation, what's the major difference that you see? Hopefully if you said there's a negative in front of the x squared, that's absolutely right. So we're going to look at one that's got a negative x squared instead of a positive x squared. But we're going to start out same steps. So take your calculator, hit the y equals, go ahead and clear that equation out of it, and go ahead and type that new one. Now for this first one, make sure you use the negative sign, not the minus sign. So you've got to use the negative sign underneath the 3, but then we can type the x, type the squared, plus 3x, plus 4. Go ahead and graph so we can take a little picture of this graph, take a little peek at it. And then finally, let's go to the table. And you're going to hit second graph to get the table. So second graph gives us the table. And we're starting with -2, so this is perfect. We can just write down our values in the table. -6, 0, 4, 6, 6, 4, 0, -6. And once we have our table done, we can start plotting the points. So go ahead and plot those points. So -2, -6, and so on. Go ahead and plot all of those points. So there we go. I plotted the dots. I didn't draw the line yet because I want to look at one thing. So to me, it looks like this vertex has, this parabola has 2 vertices. Do you think that's true? The parabola only has 1 vertex. It's the topmost point. Okay, you can't have 2 points that are the highest. So the vertex isn't going to go straight over. Vertex is going to be right in between those 2 points. So if this is 1 and this is 2 on my x-axis, this is 1 and this is 2, where do you think the vertex is going to be? Hopefully you're thinking 1/2 or 1.5, and that is perfectly right. So my vertex is going to be like right there. You can see that tiny little mini dot I put there. So let's go ahead and draw this parabola then. Perfect. There's one side of it. And there's the other side. So we have ourselves a parabola. Looks pretty close to what I had on the graph, so that's good. Now let's start labeling with the XY coordinates. Like I said, this is a little bit hard to find the vertex. Definitely not as easy because it's not a single point. But I do know that it's halfway in between 1 and 2 because it has to be right in the middle. So it's got to be 1.5. So I'm going to highlight this in yellow. 1.5, and we can't see it in the table, so there's nothing I have to highlight in the table. 1.5, and if this is 6 right here, this looks to be a little bit taller than 6, so maybe we'll say 6.25 or 6.5. If you do feel comfortable with the material and you want that exact value of the vertex, go ahead and plug in your x value, which is 1.5. Go ahead and plug in 1.5. Otherwise, for now, just spot check it. See where you think it would be. Perfect. So we have our vertex. Next thing is we have to draw the line of symmetry. Remember, your line of symmetry is going to go right through your vertex. That's going to go right through that, right in between 1 and 2. So my equation of that is going to be x equals 1.5. Remember, it's always going to be x equals that number of your vertex. The x-intercepts, I'll color them in orange, right there and right there, and in the table. So my x-intercepts are going to be -1 and 0, and 4, 0. My y-intercept is going to be right there, and that's 0, 4. Perfect. what is the maximum of this function. So our max, so we want to go all the way to the very top. And as we said, that very top point was 1.5 comma 6.25. So my max is going to be 6.25. And then it keeps going on and on and on forever. So there's going to be no minimum. Okay. Would you describe the parabola as opening up or opening down? Hopefully you guys can see now the parabola is opening down. So the open end of the cup is facing down, not up. All right, if you have any questions about this, please let me know. Raise your hand. Otherwise, go ahead and do number 5. Once again, I'm not going to do the video on this one. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you followed the steps in the other videos and in this video, you should be good to go. But if you're not, just ask and I'll help you out with it. I'll work with you one-on-one to make sure you know how to do that one. So even though I'm not doing questions 3 and 5 in the videos, I do expect you to have those done when I check your classwork.